Tracie, thank you for doing this, How They Hire with me. So to start off, who are you and what do you do?
I am Tracie Sanlin. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Chicago Collegiate Charter School, a single site charter school serving scholars in grades 6 through 12 on the very far, far south side of the city in Roseland.
Awesome. And what's a question you always ask candidates and why that question?
Mm. The question I always ask candidates is why collegiate? It seems pretty straightforward and basic, but it is a great way for me to interrogate what they've already know about the organization and values and mission alignment. Without this work will not happen, and it most likely will not be a successful relationship if they haven't started to figure out where they would fit in the organization before they arrive.
What's another question that you like to ask a lot?
The other question I like to ask is controversial.
Okay.
It is, um, if we were to ask your friends, family, and colleagues, what is one thing they would say that they love about you and one thing that would make them groan about you? You get a lot of insight to an individual about their circle and how not only how people receive them or perceive them, but also how they perceive themselves. And if the feedback they are telling you that they would give matches what you've seen in their artifacts or with them in person or through the other parts of the interview. And so it also trips people up because it's very unexpected. And seeing
Yeah.
people on their feet is very, very useful, especially in a startup-ish environment.
Wait, okay, so give an example. So play this out. So you ask somebody, what would your family and friends say about you and how, what has that looked like in an interview?
We've gotten all sorts of we've gotten all sorts of answers. Some of them are a little more polished. So, like my family would say that they love that I'm reliable and I come through all the time. They've grown about I really don't like when people like leave stuff on the counter. Sometimes it's like mundane, such as that. Other times, like on a colleague's one, is I sometimes find it hard to accept feedback when I don't respect the person. You go, oh,
Yay. Great. Check.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So it varies widely, but you get something from folks that they don't expect, and because it's unexpected, I feel like I tend to get more honest answers from them than they're like, "Tell me more about yourself."
I love that.
So it's one of
I
my
think that's a
favorites.
great question. I love that question. Okay. How do you help candidates get an honest, real understanding of what it's like to work at Chicago Collegiate?
We throw them into the fire. So as part of any strong interview
Cool.
process at our network, they come and do mostly a full day process, and we leave them unattended. So when we're hiring, I am 100% serious.
I know.
When we are hiring for, especially leadership positions, they do lunch duty. We
Okay.
have them speak with staff and students without a current member of staff with them. We give them an hour to walk hallways, visit classrooms without us, because we know our presence influence how our staff and students act. And we want the candidate to feel comfortable having genuine, authentic conversations without us and without our presence influencing kid behaviors. And what we also do on the flip side, which I'm not sure all candidates realize, is we talk to everyone after that they interacted with. And so we get a really unbiased view, and they get an unbiased view of who we are and what we do. And it kind of gives, I receive feedback from candidates around, I feel like you trust what you're telling me, because not many organizations would just allow a
Right.
prospective candidate to go touch everything with no barriers. And so it almost instantaneously builds trust between the organization and the person we are interviewing.
That's so good. And then when you go around and call all the people who interacted with that person, what are you asking your staff? What are you trying to figure out?
I'm just trying to get impressions. So we don't have guiding questions. Normally it is very informal, like, hey, did you see the candidate today? Because staff knows a candidate is in the building or students. What did you think? They start rattling off, okay, thank you. Very
Right.
neutral. We don't want to influence either way if we hire or don't hire the person.
Okay.
And so kids know that like they can tell, them they're in a suit or they're dressed up and someone they don't recognize. And they will say, we really like them, or like, they don't know. I remember one time we had a candidate in for a teaching position and the juniors came immediately after they left and said, don't hire them. They were wearing Jordans and the hat, and they said it's clear they don't take this role seriously for an interview. That's not appropriate. We ended up not hiring them because we didn't like the references either.
Yeah.
But the children know what good teachers look like and feel like. And so I was just astounded that they had gotten to that point so quickly. But they were adamant, and they were correct. They were correct.
One of my favorite things about your leadership is like you do let the kids do a lot of the leadership and like the talking and like you allow kids to lead authentically. So I think that's great. And I know you genuinely care about what they have to say. What is your secret sauce when it comes to closing talent? How do you get people to sign on the dotted line?
What is the secret sauce? We've not had anyone turn down an offer that we've extended.
Dang.
Um,
Wait, what do you mean ever?
at least since I've been around, every candidate I wanted, I've gotten.
10
Um,
years? Just getting what you want?
basically,
Okay.
So I I think what I think
Wow.
a few things are the secret sauce. The first is I am I am perhaps overtly honest about the leadership style they're going to receive, almost to a fault.
Yeah.
This is what you may not like. This is what you're going to like. This is what can be challenging for you. Here are the supports you are and are not going to receive. I have done a lot of hiring. I also have spent a lot of time being trained with excellent people on how to do hiring. And so most of the time, the people that I am hiring have been vetted on multiple levels. And when we're to the point of offer, they want the job. They
Right.
want to work at Collegiate. They believe in our successes. They've met our kids. They've met the adults. They've heard from me or our other leadership team members. And you can see the glint in their eye that they're excited to work here and like they want this job. So anyone who I feel that is a little shaky on
Yeah.
if I believe it's going to be a good fit for them is someone I wouldn't offer to. We might do a follow-up conversation. We might explore further because in my opinion, that first 90 days, if you are not jazzed to work here and excited, it is going to be a swift downhill tumble when reality hits of the work. And so I need that like zest and energy and rose colored glasses about the work and what we're going to ask the person to do to be high when starting, because that's going to carry them through the learning and onboarding process, which is challenging because of the complexity of the organization and how small we are. The other thing is we do some of the typical things like we will go take people out to eat. We have them spend time with kids. I'm
Can you
doing
take people to get your nails done and see if they
I'm
can?
taking people to get their nails done. If I'm doing a four court press, like it's someone I really want, I'll have my board chair call. I'll have an influential community member that means something to that person if I know who that is to call.
Yeah.
I will send a thank you note if they like talk about their family and like I really love them. Sometimes I send like a thank you note to like the partner with permission around like thank you so much for letting your partner interview. Like you're giving up part of your family. Like it is a full court press, but that is for like the creme de la creme of the individuals. Like I will
Yeah.
drive people around the city giving personal tours of like neighborhoods they should move to. Like we will go above and beyond to sell, but we
Yeah.
also are careful to make sure it's accurate to what they're actually going to experience and what they're actually going to get. We
Yeah.
never want a candidate to think they're getting something and it not be true when they arrive.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good. Well, here's the next question, but maybe you feel like you've answered it. What's the most creative or unconventional thing you've done to help a candidate say yes?
Uh, I once told a candidate not to take a job blatantly, and then I outlined all the reasons why they shouldn't take the job, and then gave the questions to ask the other offering job. And I said, if the answers come back like this, I'm
What?
right. Like I've proven my point, and they did it, and I was right.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
so like I think it's
And they came
what
to you.
they came to us. It was actually Tanisha, but it's what that illuminated for them in that interaction was even if I don't take this job, this person cares about me at this moment professionally. And they are caring in such a way that it's actually detrimental to their own
Yeah.
organization because they hire me. And so if they're willing to do that, then most likely they also are going to fulfill the promises they're making in this interview process. And that makes it really hard to say no, especially when I accurately predict what the outcomes are going to be just from my experience. There's some, you do this game long enough, like there's only so many variables that can
Yeah.
come out. And so that's probably the most unconventional thing that I did or do that I probably wouldn't recommend per se for most people because it requires a certain level of panache. But if you think
I
you
love
can,
it.
it totally works. It totally
I love
works.
I think like we have to paint a really honest picture of what's happening down to like kids are gonna, elementary schools, I've seen them be like kids gonna throw up on the floor. You're gonna be cleaning up lunch, like all, here's all that you're gonna have to do. Like, are you sure you want to sign up for that? Okay, one or two more questions. What's your best advice for a first year hiring manager?
Learn yourself. And so I thankfully have been tutored by the great Taylor Bostic. And one of the things that I've learned in leadership is you will continue to make the same mistakes until you fix what's wrong with you. And
Ooh,
so if you are hiring the same position over and over again and it's always not working, it's not the people, it's you. And so really knowing,
my Botox belies my shock because I'm like, that's brilliant. It's so good.
but like knowing who you are, what your faults are, what people have stumbled against when working with you. So, for instance, in my leadership style, I am quite frankly not the greatest manager. I'm a fantastic leader. I am not the greatest manager. I don't want to follow up every day on what you're doing. I don't whatever, but some people need that level of structure and guidance to feel productive. If you are a person who needs that, I am probably not a great fit for you as a leader because you're not going to get that all the time. Of course, we do. You're not going to get that all the time from me. And so, before I learned that, had some rocky moments with people because I couldn't understand why we weren't kind of clicking together and working together in a way that we needed to on the leadership side. And
Yeah.
so that's what I would recommend doing. The other thing that I have done that really transformed my hiring was creating strong candidate profiles for myself about needs, wants, and also like what isn't needed. Like they don't
Yeah.
actually need to know math to be a coach. Like I need them to know whatever it is. And that just helps me have clarity around who exactly I'm looking for. And it stops me from disqualifying people because of my biases against what I actually need, whatever those may be.
So good. Who trained you? Seriously, who trained you?
You
Um,
really?
no, I don't think so. This is all you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I almost want to go back to the first question, like who are you? What are you doing? And do you have any opportunities?
So we are always hiring the most incredible talent that exists in the United States. We're about to open a brand new multi-million dollar interior designed building. I actually just hired the interior designer. She's on Magnolia Network. Um, yeah, Chip and Joanna Gaines. But if you are interested in exploring what it feels like to work at a network that actually cares about kids and does the work day in and day out, holla at us.
And can people email you?
Yes, you can email me at tracie.sanlin@chicagocollegiate.org, or you can check out our website for available postings. And if nothing's available, just drop your resume in the resume collector and tag it with you heard about us from this conversation, and we'll reach out to you.
Thanks, Tracy. Okay, and last thing, so you've been my client a few
Yeah.
times. I used to be your coach. What do you like about working with me?
Because you're still a coach. So I think, like I talked earlier around knowing yourself and defining the role. And personally, sometimes I can get stuck on what I think I need and what needs to happen, and I have very strong opinions. One of the great things about working with Taylor is that she is a master at getting people to be unstuck. And asking the difficult questions to get you aligned to what you actually need to accomplish for your role. And because I know her personally and have known Taylor for almost more than a decade now.
I
Oh my
know.
goodness,
I think it's
more
like
than a decade.
yeah, and if
It's
it's TFALA, it's like
close to 2 decades. Is that there's a level of trust because you know that she deeply cares about kids and what schools do and the importance of leaders and intimately understands it from her own background, the impacts of hiring poorly. I have worked with lots of recruiters and lots of different places, and it is rare to have that nexus of I know how to ask the difficult questions while respecting your authority and organizational autonomy. And I get personally how difficult and important this is for the kids that we serve. And this is her personal alignment to doing the work. So you'll be a fool not to hire Taylor to help you figure out what's best for your organization.
oh